Welcome to the Lady J Meat Dudes podcast. I'm Evan.
Tyler.
I'm Charlie.
And today we have a super special guest, Kevin Smith, the English butcher, the owner of Beast and Cleaver, man.
Why is he talking like that?
I told you, man, that's my podcast voice.
Wow.
No, man, we're super stoked to have Kevin here, man. He owns Beast and Cleaver in Ballard, and I got to say, we own a butcher shop here at Lady J, obviously, and there's only a few butcher shops in the freaking state that I'd go to, and definitely I go to Beast and Cleaver because you guys just do some cool stuff, unique stuff. You always have the best meat. You always have unique cuts. Pate, charcuteries. We're going to get into all the cool stuff, man, that you do. Sausages, man. Love the sausages that you guys do. But man, we're super excited to have you here, Kevin. So
sweet. Thanks, man. This is great. No, I mean, I love what you guys do too. You know, there's a huge mutual respect. I've been over, 4 or 5 times. Everything is always fucking delicious and great, and it's simple yet complex, and I love what you guys do. You know, it's thanks for inviting me over. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's fun. No, this is great, and it feels so relaxed. It doesn't feel like
I
do some things sometimes that I'm like, I don't know what to say. Today I'm just gonna say whatever the hell I want. So,
dude, I love it.
Charlie's so relaxed he might take a nap.
Might catch him sleeping.
Okay,
shit.
let's do it.
Let's go. So we're going to talk today about Butchery, man, because I know, like I said, we have a butcher shop. Kevin owns a butcher shop, and we do a lot of butchery. All of us do, except for me. A lot of us do a lot of butchery here. And it's really cool, I think, to talk about the different styles between where you're from and everything. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about your background and kind of how you became a butcher.
Sure.
Go off here.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I've been over here in America now for 10 years. It'll be 10 years, I think, in December. 10 or 11 years. My wife is from here, Polly. We met in San Sebastian in Spain. I did this ridiculous long-distance relationship for like a year and a half. Then I couldn't stay in the country for longer than 90 days. So after 2 or 3 times of doing that, her mother is the head of some school, like private school, and she teaches the baking and all the cooking stuff there. And she had an idea of like, look, if you want to stay in the country, go to culinary school here and you can get a visa. It's like, sweet, I'm already pretty good at cooking, so like I'll do that. So that was, I think, 11, 12 years ago. I lose track of time now, but I ended up moving over and going to Seattle Central and getting a visa, and then I got married, and then I live here and I talk to American people and I'm like, what's going on? How did this happen? Seriously, I was pinching myself earlier when I was talking to you. I was like, it's so weird. Like I'm on the other side of the world. I've got a great butcher shop, like amazing staff, and I pinch myself all the time. It's crazy. Yeah.
It's a smashing success. You guys are killing it.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's a lot of hard work, as you guys know. It's a lot of work. So that's kind of like the short story getting over here. I've been around food my whole life. My mum was a cook. I learned a lot of good home cooking from her. I used to help out in some butcher shops back in England, but that wasn't my thing. I was an amazing home cook. Like I'd go to every Michelin star restaurant I could go to. I'd go to every good restaurant in England, in Paris, in Spain, all over the place for like 15 years. From like the age of 20, I was doing that. Go all over the place. I actually left school at 15, completely, like, no qualification. I'm dyslexic. And I went and trained as a painter and decorator. That's what I did originally. And by the age of 25, I had, like, 20 people working for me. I had a sweet job. Yeah, I had all these people all driving all over London. By 24, I was, like, really good at my job.
Wow.
But all my time, I had a job where I was working like 20 hours a week by the age of 25, 26. And I would leave, go and check on the jobs, and then go and cook. Go and hang out in restaurants, cook. And I taught myself basically, not everything I know now, but I taught myself a lot of stuff. And that's how I got good. And obviously my mum was amazing at cooking and learned like loads of pastries and cakes and really just instilled like childhood memories of like picking blackberries and cockles on the beach, you know. That's like that's it, yeah. So yeah, no, I didn't go through the traditional road of like going into restaurants and starting and doing all that.
Yeah.
I did it like whatever I wanted to do, and I still kind of do that, you know. Like I've been, like I say, I've been cutting meat. I've been around meat since I was 14, 15. I was breaking down chickens at like 14, 15 and not thinking anything of it, because that's just what I thought was normal.
Okay.
At home.
At home, yeah. My mum used to break down like trout and salmon and just think it was normal. Yeah. So when I came over here, I was a very good home cook. I wasn't a professional cook. Okay. Was pretty good at butchery. I could like certainly break down legs and primals and all that stuff. But as soon as I got here, I started working at Rain Shadow like 10 years ago. And Russ is great. He's always like...
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Russ
that's
is...
the other butcher shop.
Yeah. So I got there and I just like immediately fell in love with it. And they just like gave me animals to work on and I got good at it. Yeah, and
because Russ is such a sweetheart.
Russ is great, man.
Yeah.
He's cool. But, you know, it was easy to put the picture together because I knew what a leg was. I knew what the ribs were. I knew what this was. Yeah. And then when somebody puts the whole animal in front of you and you do it once or twice, it's like, oh, this is quite easy.
This is where this comes from.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had decent knife skills, you know, like my knife skills are still decent. I don't really care about fucking chopping shit up or brunoise and all that. It's a waste of time, you know. Like, but what I learned was eating in the best restaurants in the world, like literally having the ability to go and hang out in some of these restaurants, and that teaches you a different way of thinking. And you're not instilled into being like, you went to culinary school at 18, this is how you cut carrots, this is how you have to cook. It's not. No. You don't have to do that. And that's another thing about America here. I see any time I see like a new chef getting an article written about them, it's like so-and-so from this restaurant, that restaurant, this restaurant. You gotta have this intro. You don't. You go to Europe and you don't. You look at like Heston Blumenthal, completely self-taught. Fergus Henderson, architect until he was like in his late 30s, self-taught. He's got two of the best restaurants there in the world. You don't really hear that over here, you know. Right. So it's not like you have to go to culinary school. Culinary school was fun. Like it was fun. I learned some stuff for sure. But you don't have to go down this traditional road of feeling like you have to know all that stuff. For me. When
I got out of culinary school,
what's that?
I call it culinary schizophrenia. Because we, like you're saying, we went to culinary school and they taught us the paisan and the bâtonnet and the brunoise and the fine brunoise and the da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. And then I worked in some French places where that was instilled, and then Charlie has the same experience. We started working at Italian places. And one of my chefs is like, what the fuck are you wasting all your time for cutting all those? And he grabs the carrots and goes, in the Roboku and tosses them in the pot. And he's like, is it going to taste different? Right. No, what we're doing is cooking. You're not going to waste all your you're not going to waste all my time brunoising those carrots to make a fucking ragu for pappardelle, right?
Right.
So I had this whole like idea of how things were supposed to be taught and learned, and I was going to try to teach other people. Yeah. And then this guy comes in and just shakes the whole fucking thing up. Yeah. Like, I don't know what to do. But
it does teach you a different way to think, you know, because one of the things I think about my food is it's very different to most other people I see here. And that's because I've come from a different way of getting where I am today. You know, I've been a professional for 12 years now. And before that, I was pretty good, you know. So I've got this weird experience of thinking differently and doing things how I want. And that's why my food is like, I don't know, people always tell me it's so unusual, but it comes from a lot of knowledge.
A
lot of knowledge.
It's easier over in I don't know if it's easier, but you know, Europe, a lot of places, it's a lot closer. There's so many different cultures that are really close together. And you get a lot of different experiences.
Definitely,
That helps, man.
Yeah.
What was the number one thing that make you want to open up your butcher shop?
Wanting to work for myself and almost relive those days of having a successful business back in England and not having to answer to anybody. That was the main thing.
That's it.
Wanting to have control.
That's why most people become entrepreneurs,
I am tired of getting told what to buy.
Yeah, because you think you know better than everyone, and sometimes you actually do. Other times you don't.
You don't.
Yep.
So I think like wanting to not have to do late nights. The hours of Butchery are pretty nice, you know, like 8 till 4, 9 till 5, whatever it is. They're not too bad.
Sure.
Yeah, and then wanting to be able to spend time with my wife and son. That's the main reason, you know, to have not to be one of these cooks who is like in the restaurant till 1 o'clock in the morning, coming home, getting up at 7, being destroyed, feeling like shit every day.
Because you didn't go home at 1, you went to the bar.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
There's no such thing as going home after a night shift.
Yeah.
Very rarely.
Yeah. So wanting to start my own business mainly for those reasons, and then it just kind of grew into kind of looking at what Seattle was missing. I think, you know, and a lot of it was local stuff, which is everywhere in England, you know. I grew up right next to the Borough Market, and I don't know if you're familiar with Borough Market. It's one of the oldest markets in the world. Some of the best butcher shops in the world in Borough Market, amazing seafood restaurants. It goes back, there's a church in there that's got a plaque on it from 912.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm actually going there next week. But everything there was local, and when I was working in restaurants and kitchens here and butcher shops here, you know, just noticing that it's kind of a monopoly on stuff that's not from Washington. And there's 1,853 beef farms here. That's the last time I did some research on it.
Wow.
I believe there's 1,853 beef farms in Washington.
That's
There's like 3 or 4 slaughter facilities, something like that. So, you know, how do you figure out those logistics of getting these amazing farms that have got like local beef, local pork, whatever it is? So that's where preservation, who you guys work with as well, are fucking amazing. You know, they kind of put this little thing together, and I love that. Yeah, I love that. Yeah,
man.
We learned a lot from
Cian's great.
And we talked about all those different aspects of the beef world in Washington and what technically is Washington beef. All those.
What to look for.
That was a lot. That was a really good lesson.
Cian has an amazing ability of showing up at a shop whenever foie gras comes out. Like, literally.
Chubby little.
Chubby skinny guy?
Chubby little skinny guy.
That skinny, yeah.
So, you know, you talked about at the Cleaver, you like using local products, but you also it's an English style, you know, butcher shop. So, you know, talk about that. What are some of the differences between an English style butcher shop and an American butcher shop? Butchery in general.
So a lot more roasts, a lot more things like utilizing more cuts that you don't really see here. You know, like you go to the supermarket and you get pork chops, you got your handful of steaks and square cut chucks and that. You go to a good butcher shop in England, and you'll see every muscle from the leg tied up into a roast. You'll see the neck, you'll see the ribs, you'll see all of that stuff. And that's obviously because they're bringing in whole animals, and these people are amazing at their jobs. They've been doing it. It's like some of them have been doing it for 30 odd years. Yeah. So you see that stuff and you grow up around it from a kid. You know, you're 4 or 5, and Sunday roast is a Ireland roast, sliced thin with Yorkshire puddings and potatoes. It can be really bad, but it can be fucking amazing too. Yeah. It can be amazing. So the difference for me with English butchery is it's more about utilising everything, you know, really everything. Yeah. Not just beef, but, you know, pork fat.
How much lamb do you guys go through? Do you sell a lot of lamb?
At the shop? Yeah, we get in 1 whole lamb a week, and then probably subprimals of about another £100 or so.
Was that success right off the bat, or did you have to...
With lamb?
We've found that we've somehow have had to educate a little bit of our clientele to try new things, and if you like the steak, if you like that.
Because they know that you're an English butcher, they're like, he's got lamb.
Yeah. Lamb is our smallest seller by far. Yeah. A lot of people still have this assumption that it's gamey. It drives me crazy when people say, is it gamey?
It tastes like lamb.
It tastes like lamb, yeah. Also, that gaminess comes from leaving the glands in, you know. Like, if you leave the glands in when it cooks, it permeates through and it becomes, like, stronger tasting.
Lammy.
Glammy lanny, yeah.
Glam lamb.
Glam
Nice.
lamb. So,
like
lamb, we have it on the menu at the moment. Those shoulder chops are amazing, you know. They've got the little Denver steak on them.
Cool.
Yeah. But it's definitely our hardest sell.
Like that big.
Yeah.
They're like this big.
They're pretty big, yeah. They're pretty big.
Do we have them in our
Super
meat
cool.
box?
No,
Do we have those?
not
Oh.
those. We have
Yeah.
T-bones.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
little T-bones.
They're
lamb
good
T-bones.
too, yeah.
They were good,
Yeah.
yeah. These little guys too. So keeping on track with the English butchery.
Yeah.
So it's all about utilizing everything.
Yeah.
And if you look at your social media, which is amazing, you see all these different pates,
Yeah.
charcuteries, sausages, and things like that. So let's talk a little bit about those.
Yeah.
Maybe like what is special? What do you guys do that's special with the charcuterie and pates and things like that? What can people expect when they walk into your shop?
Yeah. I mean, with the charcuterie and pates, I put a lot of that down to learning to make meat pies as a kid. Like, I've worked with pastry for fun as a little kid, and just
Leftovers.
yeah,
Yeah.
leftovers, no doubt, yeah. And just again, learning to make pastry is like, it's not that difficult, but so many butchers have never made pastry. Like, they don't know how to. If you told them to make you a batch of pastry, they wouldn't know where to start. Not all of them, but in general, that's what I've noticed. So learning pastry is like a fundamental skill, in my opinion, for butchers to understand if you're going to have a successful butcher shop.
How long did it take you to learn how to do all those cool patterns and things on the pate on croûtes and
It
things
took,
like that?
I put
That's legit cool. Fucking dope.
that stuff I played around with and figured out on my own. I got like 90% where I wanted to be with it, and then a friend of mine, James, who's an amazing pastry chef, came by and said, "Try this." And I was like, all right, yeah. So I was almost there. Then he gave me this, like, basically this amazing stencil, and it just, we make a twill paste with that.
Okay.
Yeah, and we imprint it onto
Fresh,
the pastry when
okay.
it's cold. But but learning like pastry, I think, is huge. And then understanding what to put in a pate. Like, again, you go to France and they're fantastic. You go to Spain and the pates blow your mind how good they are. And in this country, the majority of pates I've had are like country pate. You can get that in any state, and I swear to God, all the recipes are the same. All the ones I've had in the majority of places. I've had some.
Spices,
What is it?
same
What is?
profile.
How would you describe that country pate?
I mean, so I don't even make country pate just because everyone else makes it, and it annoys me. So it does. Anything that everyone else does annoys me. I don't want to do that. So like, we have something similar, pate granmiere, pate rustique, that are basically chicken or pork livers at 25%, and then 75% pork, and then we add warming spices, not many, like 0.2% spices of like cinnamon, nutmeg, mace, a little lavender, a little allspice, stuff like that. Yeah. very, very mild. That's pate rustique, how we call it. Okay. It's totally gluten-free, that one, for modern, so many people are gluten-free these days. Yeah. Then we change that same recipe into pate granmiere, which is going into 50% livers, 50% pork, and then it's got cream, eggs, brandy, what else? Cream, eggs, brandy, lots of garlic, white wine, that stuff. Okay. But
French base.
Very French, yeah. Okay. But again, with that recipe, with something like that, we look at like the standard recipes. You make your pate base, you pour in your cream and your eggs, and we don't do that. We completely change it. We take bread and we cook it in a pot, big pot with loads of cream, loads of onions. Like, we're going back to Escoffier, like the way it was done properly. We cook the onions down with clove until they fall apart, and we blend it, and we make basically like a white
paste?
sauce. Yeah, it's like
glue.
Yeah, and it's delicious. It's the best binder you can get. And we add that at different stages into the pate to get different textures, and that learning how to make a good panade is like changed the pate game for anyone who's doing it. And then you can, we substitute bread for potatoes. Because this is me just going through Escoffier's book and looking at what he was doing, and it's better than most of the pates I'll get anywhere else. Yeah.
The godfather of cuisine.
The godfather,
legend for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Indeed, yeah.
I worked for a chef in California who named his first son Augie.
Oh, amazing! I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Josiah Citron.
Dude.
Yeah.
Well, you always, talking about butchery, you always talk about the first thing you ever butchered was a tenderloin. What's the first thing that you ever butchered? Maybe, and you talked about chickens when you were growing up, but maybe let's talk about beef. What's the first thing from a cow that you butchered?
I probably got let loose on lots of tenderloins at Rain Shadow.
Christmas time?
Yeah.
You do it.
French some rib roasts.
But I don't know, like just as a home cook, I'd be buying. I have to think sirloins now, which we call New York strip here. I'd get sirloins and cook those, and ribeyes and all the basic stuff. But once I got my hands on some real whole animal stuff, it became a lot easier. First thing I ever I think lamb legs. Legs of lamb, legs of lamb, learning how to get that little H-bone out and find that, taking the shank off. That was probably one of the first things, actually. Lamb, yeah.
So what do you guys get at Beast and Cleaver? You guys get a whole beef every week, or how does that work?
Yeah, we get so every 7 days we get 2 whole beef. So every Monday we get a whole cow, 1 pig. Then on Friday we either get another half a beef. And then we got Monday. Then we're back to Monday, and we got another whole one. We also get another pig on Friday, so we get 2 to 3 pigs, 2 cows every 8 days, call it. And then we buy all the subprimals. 1 lamb. We get subprimals because we don't have room to keep all of the whole carcass in the shop all the time. We got a 12-foot walk-in. It's pretty small. It's full.
When you dry age stuff and like beef legs and aging, man.
So that's what we bring in. Then we just set up this dry age facility. It's up and running now. It's like 6 weeks old, but it took a year to build. It's over on Aurora there. We got another 12-foot cooler over there, which we're stacking up with meat. It's at like 80 days in there at the minute.
Cool.
And that's our next thing we're working on, stacking that up, and
So you get a whole beef in.
Yeah.
So what's break that down for us. Like, how does that work? How do you break that down? Do you just say, okay, I'm gonna take this and you take this?
Yeah.
Or, like, it comes in. What happens?
Yeah. So it comes in Monday morning. There'll be 3 of us there. We're closed on a Monday, and I'm completely know how to do all of that like really efficiently now. I've gone through it over the last 8 years of really working on whole animal and dissected every muscle in there. I know every muscle, what to do with it. So my job almost these days is training other people to get that knowledge and or some of that knowledge. So we basically try and have 2 people learning butchery on a Monday. When they get good at it, I'll stop them and I'll give them something else to do, because I'm trying to create this thing of a whole circle where everyone knows how to do everything. Yeah. Otherwise, people get pigeonholed into doing just one thing, and they become amazing at cutting beef and can't make a custard, and it drives me insane. Yeah,
maybe get bored.
And getting bored as well. Yeah.
True that, yeah.
So we bring the beef in. It comes in 8 pieces because we can't get it through the door. So we get 4 quarters basically. 4 quarters? I'm dyslexic. What does that mean?
Yeah.
8 pieces. 2 chucks, 2 rib sections, 2 legs, and 2 short loins.
Okay.
And then we'll separate the chuck. We basically now take the leg, take the shank off, use that for the menus, and then we send the entire rounds over to the dry age facility, and they constantly age to 100 days. So we're constantly taking both rounds every single Monday, get transported over, they age for 100 days, and That's what we use for burgers. Yeah.
Nice. I know this is the
you're good.
The real life stuff out here, man. On the patio, we've had a lot of disruptions today. Is that Merlino?
Because that's the fast driver.
Oh, nice.
We're used to the slow driver.
You know the drivers that well.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, we'll keep it going until they start rocking it out. Then maybe we'll take a quick little fiver here.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So you're breaking down the chucks. You're taking all the different primals.
Yeah, we'll then separate like what we want to dry age, what looks good. We got kind of a standard routine that it's almost like 101. You know, this is what I want you guys to get good at and learn. When you get good at it and learn it, you can kind of do what you want. But I want you to understand it first.
If I were to come in today, with zero cutting experience and be like, I want to be a butcher, I want to learn.
Yeah.
What's the first thing you would
to you or just a person
Take me to me.
Yeah.
I don't butcher.
Yes.
Yeah. I butchered a tenderloin once for you. It took a little while.
It went really well.
Yeah.
I have a different theory on that stuff of like from what I've seen, a lot of people when you start in butcher shops, they don't want you to start on the whole carcass first. They want you to start on bagged cuts.
On like a piece.
I'll go the other direction. I want you to learn whole carcass first.
See the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And otherwise, it's a longer process to get where you're going. So I would probably say start on pigs would be the first thing, because pigs are pretty quick to butcher, and the anatomy is the same as a cow, only it's
just smaller.
Yeah, and it weighs 600 pounds difference. Yeah. So I'd probably have you lay the pig down on the table and show you, use the spine, the vertebrae as a guide. I always use those as like.
Do you count from the back rib in or the front rib out?
I count from under the shoulder blade, so I don't
you go to
even.
the fourth rib and then count.
Yeah. So the first rib would be like here, where the brisket is. Coming down, and
short bone.
Yeah, and then the last rib is the short loin, the end of the New York. Yeah. We got a really simple way of doing it. That's another thing. You see people going like in between ribs 4 and 5, 5 and 6, and they get so neat in between the joints and do it. I'm like, fuck that. Put the saw right where the shoulder blade ends and cut it off. Yeah. Can I do it the other way? Yes. Yeah. But does it really make any difference? No, because you end up taking it off anyway. So I'm like, just do it this way. You'll get it done so quick.
It's the same as brewing wine versus throwing it through the Rebel Coup, right?
I love that. I love that. Yes, I love that. Yeah.
Full circle.
Yeah. So that would be the first thing I'd have you work on. Come over and do it anytime you want. I'm sure you know how to do it, but like anytime.
I would love to do that as long as Yosh is not there. I don't want to hear his ass.
Shout out to Yosh. Yeah. Shout out to our boy Yosh.
Sorry, Yosh.
He works with Kevin at Beast and Cleaver. He's amazing.
Yosh used to make 30 pounds of sausage here a week. And decided to go to Beast and Cleaver, make 300 pounds.
You need to go there.
Yeah, go do what you do.
They're doing a lot of sausage over there.
After the first couple of weeks, he was doing this. His arm was so sore. I was like, get ready.
Right, bro. Yeah, it's a bit different. So what's your, out of lamb, cow, and pig, what's your favorite to butcher? What do you think is your
pigs?
Pigs? Yeah.
Yeah, because they're so quick and easy.
Yeah.
And they're great to teach people how to do, and they're just so versatile. They're so versatile. Lamb is more intricate for sure, and it takes a little bit more precision.
Yeah.
Less room for error.
Less room for error on it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Again, it's pretty easy to teach. I think someone how to do it. It's especially if you can do a big rabbit, you can do lamb pretty well. It's a big rabbit. Yeah.
It's a really large house cat.
It's a bit. It's a 50-pound to 80-pound rabbit. That's the way I look at it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's almost exactly the same now.
It is. Yeah. It is.
Small little rib cage, long little teeny tenders in there.
Beef is this whole home thing where you have to show people really exactly what to do, because it's expensive, and you got to be like on the chuck, for example. You don't save on the pig. You don't save many muscles from the chuck. You might save the copa. You might want to isolate the Denver or the pluma. But on beef, we take out like 15 different muscles from the chuck, and if you put your knife in the wrong place, you've got no teres major. You've messed up the flat iron or the underblade or whatever it is. So beef is like, the chuck is usually the last thing that people get to work on.
I've been explaining to Evan about the hanger.
Yes.
Why is it so difficult to harvest the hanger?
Oh God,
So we got whatever that side of pig was we got the other day.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, okay, see this teeny tiny little piece right here that's cut in half?
Yeah.
Like that is where the two separations of the front lungs and heart and all those organs to the guts, that's where that hanger lives. So when you're eviscerating, right? Yeah. You're just trying to get all that stuff out. And and you cut that hanger in half almost every freaking time.
And that's why
you're not going to go dig through the guts and harvest that hanger for lunch after that. It's gone, dude. Man. Gross.
That's the truth. Yeah, that's the truth.
Dude.
Yeah, hangers are great. Love a hanger.
It was funny. We had so many people come in. We didn't bring it in for a little while. We had so many people come in. Like, oh, you guys have hanger.
Got any
like,
hanger?
okay, fine. So then we bring like 3-4 in. Nobody bought them. We're just like, what the hell, bro?
It went well for a couple weeks, and then like we were like, oh shit, so we're gonna start selling hangers. Bring them in.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I actually have to text people like, we have hangers.
Right.
Come and get it, please.
It was like a fantasy. People were like, oh, they never have it. Oh gosh, I need to have it. Then we got it.
You know, we just sold the most of at the night market was teres major.
That's so funny. Yeah.
So many teres
people go nuts for it. Yeah.
Yeah, because we broke them down into single packs.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was Australian Stone Axe Wagyu.
Oh no, how is that stuff? I've heard this. Like, it looks amazing. Yeah.
Charlie loves it. It definitely has it is a different animal, a different terroir.
Yeah.
The creaminess is different.
Yeah.
The mouthfeel is different. Texturally, it's different.
Yeah.
It's good.
I've never had it. I don't think I've ever had Australian Wagyu.
Oh yeah, dude.
Sweet. Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be really nice. Yeah.
Man, let's do it. So let's stick on butchery here, and especially like home butchery. I got a couple of fun questions. Like, what are three tools you need to have if you are going to start doing home butchery?
Yeah, definitely like a bull-nosed 10 to 12 inch breaking knife for if you're going to start doing it. Probably a 6-inch semi-flexible. Victorinox boner,
Boner.
Love that word, and definitely a saw. Like I don't know. I think we got a 42-inch saw, which you probably don't need for your house, but I think like an 18-inch saw, something like that, is a bone saw.
I'm hoping that the one we have is gonna be okay.
Oh yeah,
the one that you have.
Yeah, don't worry, it'll work great. Yeah,
we'll get it. All right.
Yeah, I think that'd be the 3 most important things to learn into butcher with. Maybe a bone scraper too.
Bone scraper.
Excuse me.
I teach very, very minimal butchery 101 classes of just like clean a tenderloin. Here's a few different ways to break down a chicken.
Yeah.
But the most important thing that I talk about is safety sanitation.
Yeah.
Cross-contamination.
Yeah.
But also, you're gonna cut yourself.
Oh God.
Right?
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
You're going to start fooling around with this stuff, and then you think you're good at it and slip and poke yourself in the palm of the hand.
And get a really bad one,
You got to have your first aid kit readily available.
So, hey, on that, then we were talking about this. What's the worst injury you've ever seen? Could have happened to yourself, but what's the worst thing you've ever seen?
Who are you asking?
All you guys.
I don't know if I can't even think of one that's that bad.
Yeah.
Not just like, cuts and blood and stuff like
You
that.
see
But
some
not
cuts.
like I've never seen anybody cut a finger off.
No?
Yeah.
No.
Like in the kitchen, you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen some extremely bad injuries outside the kitchen, but I won't get into that. I think in the kitchen, I've had a couple of bad ones actually.
Yeah.
Somebody left a knife on the table somewhere I worked, and it was facing up, and there was a chuck on the table, and I was cutting like this, and I ran my finger along it, and I got this cut here that went deep down to the bone. It was a Saturday morning.
I can see it.
The knife went up in the air, landed there.
Shut up.
And cut me
On the
there.
wrist?
Both
Oh my
really
God.
deep. Because it was like, fuck off.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty bad one. I had
Double whammy?
Yeah. I just put some of those little steri strip things on it and just
That's good.
got back to work.
Get
Yeah, that was
after it,
pretty
right?
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got some of those.
I've never
That
heard
one
of
there
anybody doing
too. where
that's a good one.
yeah, when we first opened the shop, I was breaking another chuck down, and I was waving goodbye to this customer, and I forgot I had the knife in my hand. See you later. Doink! And it went stab straight in there, and I see the fat come out. It was so deep, you see the fat come out.
Seen the,
It's not nice, yeah.
I've done that, man. I've done that. Yeah. So I used to be a flair bartender, and lots of bottles, juggling lots of bottles, breaking lots of bottles. And I remember one time the neck of the bottle broke because it was going behind my back, and it just dug into that fat part of my throat. Yeah, dude. And I saw the fat.
That's not nice, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, the other one too. I had a bottle break, and then I just caught it because that was the next reaction, right? And so have you guys ever caught a knife? Like a knife falls and you just grab it?
Here you go.
I have
this is my story.
Yeah.
Because I don't know across the pond what sports you grew up playing, but I imagine football. I played soccer.
Yeah, football, boxing, lots of martial arts.
I played soccer my whole life growing up.
Yeah.
And hacky sack, I was a stupid fucking.
You were hacky sack.
Hacky sack. I used to love hacky sack.
Foot bag, as we like to call it.
Bust it out a little bit.
So everybody has that hand-eye coordination as a cook, but for me, I've always had foot coordination because I played soccer so much.
Yeah.
I was at the end of my day, had my long 12-inch chef knife and a bread knife, and I'm sitting there talking to my other sous chef, and I grab my bread knife, just looking at him, and I'm wiping it off, and as I did that, the other knife starts to spin.
Yes.
And right as it goes to fall, I do the whole whoop,
puts his foot right
and caught it, and
you stalled it, bro.
I did. I tried to stall the knife, and it through my toe, just barely missed the large tendon, and into the footbed of my Berkey.
My Berkey.
And then it kind of just fell out, and I was like, mother.
Dude.
That's a pretty bad one,
the first time I had inside-outside stitches. I've had a lot of stitches in the hands and whatnot, but it was so bad that they had to open it and sew up the inside, and then close it and sew up the outside.
Oh, man.
I love it.
And I was so embarrassed to tell chef.
Yeah.
Because he was going to be pissed. So the next morning, I'm limping all over the freaking place. I still wearing my Berkey with the hole in it.
Yep.
Slicing the shoe.
Your Berkey.
And I call him like, hey, dude, I'm going to need your help a little bit more than usual today. And he's like, why? Well, I dropped a knife through my foot, and I didn't tell him which one. He thought it was like a paring knife or something. And he comes to work, and he's just calling me whatever, colorful names. And get back in there, rub some dirt on it. And then after a while, I was like, dude, I got to change my sock. And we're in the office, and I took my shoe off, and he's like, dude, what the? My sock was full of blood. And I'm like, I told you I dropped my chef knife. He's like, you didn't tell me you dropped your chef knife.
Oh, God.
Sent me home for the day.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Yeah, I bet.
Such awful. Anyway, my culinary school teacher had lines down his fingers. It was my first safety sanitation because he was feeding meat through one of those ribbon slicers. I don't know what that machine is used for anymore.
Yeah.
He got his fingers and they went down to here. So he had these lines. They had to sew his fingers back up.
Oh, God.
God, I'm very uncomfortable.
Chef Webb Evans. I'll never forget this guy.
Jeez.
Oh, wow.
We could go on for a
Good
while.
stories.
Yeah.
Injuries.
Well, let's move the conversation to favorite piece of meat you've ever eaten. Could be a meal, could be a favorite piece of a cut.
God.
Could be anywhere in the world.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
your
the
shop.
best steak I've ever eaten would be in San Sebastian off of. Gives me so much inspiration. There's this little tapas bar there that I can't remember the name of it. It might be Border Barrio or something like that. But they had 8-year-old dairy cow, retired dairy cow, gold yellow fat. They come out with it in these boxes like so, and they say, which one do you want? They got 5 things on the menu: steak, cheese, red peppers, and wine, and maybe a couple of other tiny things. They specialize in beef. They got this fire. They cook the beef so fucking rare, so rare.
Really?
Slice it thin, cover it in salt, smother it in salt. You can't get better than that.
Really?
And then a tomato salad, that was the other thing. They just put the best tomatoes you've ever had, loads of salt. When you think you've added enough salt, more.
Yeah.
And then oil. That was it. That's the best beef I've ever eaten anywhere.
Really? You guys do some dairy cow.
We
too.
do, yeah.
What do you think the difference is in flavor between non-dairy?
It's much more intense. It's texturally a good dairy cow. The fat is like intramuscular going through it. It just melts in your mouth. And I think flavor-wise, I don't know the best way to describe it other than it's like beef times 100. It's like so beefy. It's
beefy, okay.
It's beefy, yeah. But not like lamb with the glands and the gamey crap, but like just beef. It's like the most intensified beef you've ever had. But a lot of them are 7 years old plus. So that gets us into like how to cook those and what to do with them.
Yeah.
Because what we've noticed is that these animals, they develop the sinew. So like, let's say around the New York strip on a 2.5-year-old animal, that sinew that comes around on the top, it's pronounced a little bit there. On a 7-year-old, 8-year-old dairy cow, that sinew's grown and it's become thick, and you can't really cut the New York and sell it that way.
Take it off.
You have to take it off,
Which loses the fat.
Which you loses the fat. So,
and then you're also talking already, a lean piece is even leaner without that sinew and that fat, right?
So
concentrated beefiness.
Yeah. So there's these. I think there's like 1 in 1,000 dairy cows has these insane genetics that look like Wagyu beef.
Really?
We've been fortunate enough to get 2 or 3 of those at the shop, 7 to 10 years old. Best beef we've ever had at the shop. Other ones that come in are extremely lean and really good flavour, but you have to treat them completely differently and denude all the sinew, take all the sinew off on the New York strip. Otherwise, you cook it and it's like a piece of fish. It wants to curl up, and it becomes. And then you'll get customers saying it was really dry, and they're right because they probably cooked it how they cook a normal steak to I don't know 140 degrees. These ones you want to treat them like they're blue, just barely touch them, and then that flavour is kind of unparalleled, I think. Yeah.
It's sometimes hard for me to enjoy that flavor versus other beef flavors. Working on the small amount of time I spent on farm on Vashon, Jersey cows.
Yes.
And eventually when we would take one of those ladies down.
Yeah.
Oh man.
What was it that you find different between those animals?
I can smell, I can taste the butteriness, I can taste the grass. It's almost in my mind. I can see it when I'm eating it,
Yeah.
And even just tasting that cheese. Oh, you're familiar with Dinah's cheese from Kirkwood. That's the farm.
Yeah.
It's just when people talk about terroir, that's all I can really sense when I taste that.
Right.
Stuff.
It's almost too grassy for you.
It almost is. Yeah.
I mean, there's some weird molecular thing that happens when you eat grass-fed beef. It tastes like fish. I don't know if you've ever noticed that. And there's some chemical that's produced. I'm not sure what it is or how it happens, but a lot of grass-fed beef will have a mild fishy flavour to it, and that can be slightly off-putting. Not with all grass-fed beef, and I don't quite know why that is, but there's a couple of farms that are more in the commodity world that I've had that are so-called grass-fed meat that are kind of a bit fishy, and that stuff is not appealing at all to me.
Charlie and I have specifically nailed it down to almost anchovy.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Very oily.
Yeah.
Talk about that with pork too.
Saba.
Some of the pork.
Dishes,
you talk about a commodity pork.
It's not what you want in beef, is it? No, it's not what you want in
funky
beef.
too.
It's a little weird. Yeah.
Hey Charlie, what's your favorite steak or piece of meat you've ever eaten?
Pacific Rogue F1 New York strip.
F1
It's up there.
Yeah.
I like the F1.
Yeah.
I like the beef and the Wagyu together.
That's what I'm talking about.
Was that just a
Angus.
couple of weeks ago?
That animal was awesome. We didn't eat any of that. But
That
That
was up
one
there.
was up
That
there.
was up there for me.
Yeah.
That
Really?
was seriously some of the best beef I've had in years. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I don't think I took any of that
Pacific
home.
Yeah.
I
It's
sold
nuts.
a lot of that one. It looked good. It
Yeah.
looked good.
Out of all the ones that we've had over the years, the last couple of years, that last one animal in particular from the last round was way
Unbelievable.
up there.
Yeah.
Way
Yeah.
way
That was
up there.
Pacific Rogue, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool, man.
We have a rib in the back that I took the back ribs off yesterday for a customer. And I called
Pure
Charlie,
Country.
and I was like, a Pure Country.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, is this the super beef? Is this the,
Yeah.
is this the, what is it? What is it? It's
Yeah.
regular. And
Yeah.
like the fat's a little bit more yellow.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it, and I cut the bones off, and it's, dude,
Yeah.
it like looks like Wagyu. It's
Really?
crazy,
Yeah.
dude. It looks
Yeah.
All of that
amazing.
beef is good, man.
We
Yeah,
get
it
it,
is.
man.
Yeah. Pure Country is
Spoiled.
great.
We
yeah.
are
That stuff
spoiled,
is
man.
amazingly
We are
good.
spoiled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Kevin, if you got
Yeah.
$50 in your pocket, you walk into Beast and Cleaver. What are you buying?
Buying a piece of pate en croûte for $12. I'm buying a. I'm gonna buy the London Broil, which we changed to London Royale because that's such an amazing steak, top brand.
Yeah.
Cooked blue. I'm buying one of those for $12, so that's what, like 24, maybe $20, something like that. Then I'm gonna get a pork chop for sure because I
Yeah.
love those pork chops with
Such
the
good pork chops.
bone left in, the chine bone left in. You get one of those for about $14. What's that like?
So
Cool.
about 30,
35, 40,
35,
35,
38,
40.
yeah, right around there.
And then I'm gonna buy a beer. Yeah. Maybe a 4-pack. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
That's where it's at for me.
That's a
yeah.
good,
Yeah.
That's a good haul right there, man. For some
Yeah.
good local beef.
Yeah.
Sounds like
And-
lunch.
Yeah. Nice little lunch. I love it, man. And so,
Yeah.
we kind of talked about Pure Country and all the local places we get from. Why is it important to really source? Why do you think it's important to source your meat locally and from farms like Pure Country?
Yeah, I mean, so many reasons. Like, to try and sum it up really quickly, we was talking earlier that there's like over 1,800 farms here, some of the best beef in the world in Washington. Why do we want to go to the other side of the country and have like all these costs in sending it via truck, via plane, via God knows what,
Yeah.
wrapping it in plastic, sending it there? It doesn't make sense. It's like also not really sustainable to
Yes.
the local agriculture. Like we want to be supporting these local farms so they can continue keep making growing this incredible beef, pork, lamb, whatever it is, ducks, chickens, rather than just getting it all from these big crappy commodity places that treat the animals like shit. It's
Yeah.
as simple as that. I've seen some of these chickens that are like 2 weeks old and they're so fat that they can't stand up and their legs break and they
Gross.
live in their own feces.
It's terrible.
But you can buy them at the store for $5.
Right, real time.
No, that's okay for
Yeah.
certain people. I'm not talking everybody can afford a $20 chicken, but if you can buy less and buy good, it's always been our thing. Just the sustainability of it. That would be the main thing. Summing it up like really generally.
I
Yeah.
agree, man. I
Yeah.
agree. We went down over there at Pure Country and toured it up and just
Yeah.
saw how much they actually care.
Yeah. Right.
And it makes you feel differently. Like, oh, this is good. Actually,
Yeah.
it's not this commodity place where
Right.
like you can see the pigs and the cows. Like we're seeing them. They're not
Yeah.
locked up in a metal building.
Yeah.
3, 4, 5 stories high.
Yeah.
And it makes a big difference. And people come in here, I'm sure, with Beast and Cleaver and say, man, I go to some steak shops now and some steak houses, and I'd rather come here and get the steak because the steak
Yeah.
here is 10 times better.
Yeah.
Cooking it myself is way better.
Yeah, and it gets into that whole like USDA grading system stuff. Like none of our stuff is graded ever because it doesn't go through that commodity grading system. Because what Pure Country's got like what? How many head of beef? A couple of thousand max.
5,000 to 10,000 acres.
Right. So they haven't got a lot of these big farms have got 50,000 animals.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just
So
on.
not 100,000 acres.
Right, exactly, yeah, exactly. And they're just getting fed like stuff that's basically carcinogenic for the human body. It's like there's been so many surveys and research done that those grains that have been sprayed with so many pesticides and all this other stuff it's not good for you.
Yeah.
But you can buy like a 2-pound ribeye for $15.
Yeah.
Great. Like, yes, if people are on a budget and all the rest of it, I'm not trying to
Yeah.
discriminate against cost and things like that at all. But if you can afford it, just buy less meat and buy good meat. That's our thing, That's totally it.
Yeah.
I like that, man.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, should we wrap up this podcast? Do we have any finishing thoughts that we're missing? Any last questions?
No, man. I'm just glad he's here.
Yeah.
The legend.
Oh, man,
Legend.
thanks. You guys are great, man. This is
No,
fun.
for real, dude. Yeah,
this
it's
has been
cool.
fun.
And later we might butcher something up here together.
Sweet.
Knock something out, cook something up, and have some fun. So, man.
It's kind of fun to have a really meat-centric podcast.
Yeah.
This one, because we had our
Yeah.
friend Chris Tangi was on our last
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Master Som.
He's
and
great, yeah.
Yeah,
We
he's
just
dope.
sat here and looked at him mostly the whole time. Going, holy shit, he knows so much
He's
about
amazing,
wine
yeah, he's
and
amazing.
the world. And
Yeah.
And the one before
Whoa.
that, we got really drunk with Sarah. So, man.
whiskey one.
I'll
was
see
a-
that.
That was a
Great,
new.
yeah.
the meat dudes are back to me.
We're getting back with Butcher, man. So, dude, well, hey, thank you for
Thanks,
for
man.
being
Yeah.
on here, man.
Yeah, no, I love it. Yeah.
This is awesome. And we
Yeah.
had a lot of fun. And you know what? Let's sign it off for the Lady J Meat Dudes. I'm Evan.
Tyler.
Charlie.
Kevin.
Let's
Yeah.
go. Oh,
Yeah.
perfect time because Merlino's here.
Sweet.
Let's go.
Yeah.